There's been a turnaround response in Rae Jepsen that I've seen in a few other prominent pop artists, at least when it comes to our group. And when I say our group, you know exactly what I mean. The kind of music fanatic that stocks up a Topsters chart of favourite albums featuring Animal Collective, Danny Brown, John Coltrane, The Residents, and then suddenly you'll see Emotion in there, sticking out with a crowd like a person who isn't wearing a flannel at a music festival. There are a bunch of cynical routes that I can go down to speculate as to why Carly in particular is the poptimism exception for music fanatics who will praise her in one breath and slam Dua Lipa in the next, but I don't want to, given that both Emotion and its follow-up B-Sides compilation are fantastic records that flourish due to sleek production, bouncy playful hooks, a free-spirited friendly personality that manages to make even the most run-of-the-mill empty whiteboard marker-esque lyrics suddenly sound like an Emily Dickinson poem. I'll also say that Call Me Maybe was always good, but we're not ready for that conversation, and that's the thing that draws the line in the sand between her and her peers. I feel as if there's always a bit of leeway, a bit of wiggle room in how on the nose her passionate self-expression of love-struck excitement is, simply because she's always able to sound like performing each song is a blast, and sounding convinced yourself is a step towards making me convinced. Dedicated is by no means an Emotion Part 2, more like the spiritual successor that gets announced and slightly disappoints after many years of anticipation. The bottom line is that Rae Jepsen is all about fun, and you should go into this album expecting nothing but fun, and you will end up having fun. Instead of the raving energy of Emotion that surges through the track listing like a saxophone-powered electric current, Dedicated seems more settled in with itself, maturer, even a little bit classy. I should say that I like this album a fair bit up until Automatically in Love onwards. Then it gets a bit turbulent, I'm drunk off the wine, and Auntie Glennis is making hints that I should consider leaving already. Carly already writes like 200 songs per album cycle, surely just do one of those song brackets and pick the best ones. Oh wait a minute. Although this album is very uneven, it's hard to deny that the first stretch of tracks hit super well. Julien is like a nice bridge between this album and the last, before No Drug Like Me gives you the sleeker, modernized production that still finds itself bathing in 80s nostalgia until it smells like hacky sacks and shoulder pads. I suddenly find out what Jack Antonoff was doing with all the life that he vacuumed out of the records he produced these past few years. It was to channel it all back into Want You in My Room. The real highlight of the first half is that bouncy, light-footed everything he needs. With that vocoder harmony on the chorus and the squeaky background melodies, it actually sounds like Carly is so caught in the spell of love that she's starting to levitate.
He needs me, 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 he needs me. I got everything he needs.
The rest of this album hits similar heights such as the waltzy I'll Be Your Girl that still somehow manages to bounce hard in 3/4 time, and the aquatic piano-led The Sound that still manages to catch a huge breath at the surface of the water once the hook rolls around. I'm keener to point out the positives of this album than I am the low moments, mainly because the low moments are just Carly by the numbers and so close to said numbers that the numbers end up absorbing the semblance of bubbly personality that would have otherwise made her songwriting flourish with a little bit of sunlight. I still had fun, but it's a very in-the-moment kind of fun that limits itself to the permutations of the album as opposed to being individually fantastic songs, the kind that I would actually return to. It was meant to be fun, and it was fun, just not the most fun. That makes it a 6 out of 10 for me. I felt a similar way about one of the bonus tracks on this album, Party for One, which was the first from here that dropped as a single. Clearly a good song, very anthemic and cheeky, a little bit subdued and weak on the verses, but a good song nonetheless. That said, I don't remember ever thinking it's that Party for One kind of day. If I wanted to listen to 3 minutes of verbal spillage that pertains to helpless masturbation, I would just watch one of my own videos.